So how did I get involved in horse racing and where did I fall in love with it? Probably like many people, it was through the Grand National. It was always a big day in our household. My dad used to get the paper. I used to look through all the runners and riders, all the jockey silks, all the names. And I used to love that. So that's definitely where I got my bug of racing.
My dad worked 3 shifts whilst looking after 3 children, and my mum, who had a mental health illness. A bet was his little bit of time to himself when he got it. And I would sometimes walk with him to the betting shop and wait outside and just look in, and it would be just a smoke-filled room in the 70s, and it was right next to, obviously, my favourite football team, Everton. So yeah, I have quite vivid memories of the first time I got interested, because I used to talk to my dad there and back, and he'd mention the different types of bets. And I think when I was about 8 or 9, I did a bet for him, chose horses for a Union Jack, and I think at the time then he won about £70, and he was obviously very happy with that.
1959 Grand National. That shows you how old I am. From that moment on, I was in love with racing. From John Rickman on ITV Racing, I couldn't understand why ladies weren't allowed to train racehorses. I just found it fascinating. The Maharajas, the Greek oil barons, just a wonderful, wonderful, eclectic mixture of people, and I loved it.
A long time ago, my mum used to be a bookies runner, so she used to stand on the corner of our road and collect bets for our local bookie before it became legal, I'm presuming. So I was probably in a pushchair or a pram, and that was all right. It was fine, and he eventually got his license, and he owned a betting shop for quite a few years after that. All my family, my brothers, all my family and cousins, have just grown up in racing, well, in bookies, nowhere near a horse as such, but and they've just found such a lot of community and the joy of the race, and actually backing a winner occasionally has been quite good. So it's always been there. So when I had a choice of where to come and live, why wouldn't it be Newmarket? It's the best thing I ever did.
Obviously, as you grow older, you can then start going to the race days. The first one I ever went to was York, and I just remember it being a really special day. York's good at the best of times, but when there's a race day on, it's a really special place. So fell in love with it, and been hooked ever since. I always try and take in new race courses whenever I can. But yeah, got the bug from an early age, really.
Well, as a child, I had 2 aunties whose houses practically backed onto Aintree Racecourse. And when the National was on, we could slip through the fence and watch the race for free, and it was really amazing. When I was older, the first racecourse I went to as an adult was Chester Races, and I went with my dad, and I think my dad picked, I think it was 6 or 7 winners that day. It was a really good day out.
First course I went to was Goodwood. I lost in every race. I was 16. But I used to gamble on horses at a very young age, from about 12 onwards.
The first time I went racing was probably at Newton Abbot. That would have been about 1963, something like that. But it could have been Bromford Racecourse in Birmingham, because we were very close to the racecourse, and I'm sure I must have got there before it closed down in 63. I can't see a reason why I wouldn't have, but that was a good old course. I lost to Birmingham.
How did I get involved in the Martin Smith Racing Club? Martin posts a lot on Twitter. He posts some really great content on there, and that's where I found out about it, really. Obviously, it's a great offer, really, really good value for money. You get your welcome pack. Martin's great with giving you behind-the-scenes footage and things like that. So it's a really great way just to get involved, dip your toe into the water with behind-the-scenes on horse racing, and get involved with a trainer. So I'd highly recommend it.
Twitter. Those who know me, I'll do like a few jokes or a few groans, whichever word you like to use, which I thoroughly enjoy. It keeps everyone's spirit up, hopefully during these tragic times.
The first time I heard about the racing club was when I think you may have mentioned it on Twitter. And I've been in a previous syndicate. I didn't actually at the time get to go to any of the races to see my syndicate horse, which was a bit of a shame. But it was always good to follow him and watch him on the TV.
I found out about the racing club, I think, on Facebook, because I'd been to the open weekend in Newmarket previously, and because I think you were a bit busy doing something else that weekend, Anna and Martin, so you couldn't open your stables, but then you did eventually, and I couldn't believe it when I walked in and I met Anna, and she told me all about the stables, and it was exactly what I was looking for. I was just in the right place at the right time, and I could have missed it, but it was meant to be. It's the best thing I've done. I really enjoy being part of it.
For me, the best day I've had with the Martin Smith Racing Club is definitely watching Break the Rules run at Aintree last year. When you sign up to these clubs, you never expect to go to somewhere like Aintree on a Saturday. But that's exactly what I got, and it's a day that I'll remember for a long time. Some of the places you get access to, being in the parade ring before the race, seeing all the jockeys that you watch on TV. For me, as I said, it was a really special day, something I'll remember for a long time, and something I'm really grateful for the Martin Smith Racing Club for.
I've had shares in racehorses before, never really taken interest. I've paid my money, never been to stable visits. This, having recently retired, I'm hoping a few stable visits. I just think it's a wonderful sport. There are wonderful, wonderful people in it, both involved, watching, training, jockeys. I try and do a bit for the Injured Jockeys Fund, and I just think the whole idea of horse racing is wonderful.
Not everyone can afford to own their own racehorse, and the chance to sign up for me for either one or more or all of the horses at a very reasonable cost is a really viable option. I really love the interaction and banter with other racing club members and the videos that go on behind the scenes, because although I love horse racing, I love the power and even the fragility of a horse. I wouldn't really say I've been very knowledgeable. So I've had a few visits to see John Berry, and he's very kind. He always lets Steve and I in to see Roy Rocket. I went quite a difficult period 4 years ago where I had life-saving surgery, and this decision was made after that by Steve that we would try and get me to the races as much as we possibly could, because it takes my mind off other health conditions that I have as well. So yeah, horse racing, I won't claim to know everything, but I do love it.
Since joining the racing club, I think it is the banter, and it's the friendship, and all these people who I've never met, most of them, but I seem to know a lot about them, and they probably know a lot about me as well now. It's the friendliness. It is only 5 minutes walk around the corner from the house, and it's a small stable. I've got 5 horses with the owners group. It's nothing like this. It's completely the opposite, and they will be dwindling down as the years go on. But no, I think it's a brilliant stable and with brilliant people running it.
I also really enjoy, and I have to say that the owner experience that you gave Steve and I at Aintree Racecourse last Christmas, especially that, as you know, Steve and I got married at Aintree, and it'll be our 20-year anniversary this year, so it was priceless. Don't know whether it'll ever happen again, but yeah, we absolutely loved that day.
My favourite horse, obviously Martin keeps me up to date with all the runners and riders from his yard. But outside of that, I would say I love Thistlecrack. Always love Thistlecrack. Gives it his all. A great horse. So yeah, Thistlecrack. Obviously, I keep an eye out for all Martin's runners, and it keeps me up to date.
My favourite horse at the moment is Friends Don't Ask. But it's really hard because I love them all. I just love the beauty and the power in a horse and a race, especially a racehorse. So I think it's a bit wrong to actually ask us to choose one.
I haven't got a favourite horse. I just feel I have I owe an apology to Badger, because I didn't know how to explain what sort of horse he was the day I asked about him, and I may have called him something that wasn't nice because he wasn't a racehorse, and I didn't quite know what he was. But I found out later what a fantastic person he is to have in the stables, and hope today hasn't been too traumatic for him.
For anyone who's questioning signing up, for me, it's a no-brainer. Really, really affordable. As I said, it's just a great way to dip your toe into the water, to get involved with a horse trainer. And for me, it's something I've really enjoyed. Really sociable. The open days, Martin posts loads in the group chat. So for me, it's no-brainer. Sign up, get involved. And Martin, when you've got 2,000-3,000 members, just make sure you remember me, okay? Take care.
If I wanted to convince my friends to join the club, I would tell them that they would be part of a like-minded racing group of people who also love to chat and have a bit of banter. The social element is very important. You know, sometimes you hear of people who are in syndicates and other members are a bit snooty or a bit. I really like the interaction, and I think since joining and I've definitely made a few more friends, and I think in particular Chris, because she seems to have the same personality as me. So I really can't wait to meet her. Well, meet her especially.
Well, I'm always talking about the stables, and as you know, I bought one sharing a horse for my friend for Christmas. She's only been able to get 10 once because of all the lockdown and everything. I'm desperate to get to the races and see the horse running, and well, any horse really. Just want to go out. But I think if anybody's going to join, I think I'll find at least another 3 people when we get going again, because as I say, I keep talking about it. I'm just so pleased to be in the club. Well, in that club anyway. I've already had 3 children. I don't want to anymore. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.